Janet Jackson blasts Diddy. Diddy has faced the worst year of his life. He's gone from defending himself against countless allegations to spending time in jail awaiting trial. Recently, following Diddy's arrest, Janet Jackson has found herself entangled in Diddy's case. But before we dive into that, let's take a closer look at the charges against Diddy that Janet wants to avoid being linked to. Puff Daddy owns a $61 million mansion in Beverly Hills, where he threw a lavish party in 2022. He was turning 53. This was a star-studded party with Jay-Z, Chris Brown, Machine Gun Kelly, and Mary J. Blige, among other stars, in attendance. This party also coincided with his 30th year in the game as a musician and producer who worked with giants in the industry like Notorious B.I.G., Mariah Carey, and Jennifer Lopez. For the past 30 years, Sean Combs was a force to reckon with in the music scene. He was well respected. Even Eminem said in a verse in the diss track against Machine Gun Kelly, "Kill Shot," that he does respect and love Diddy. But this was after he touched on some story about Diddy being behind Tupac's murder. Fast forward to this day, no one wants their name to be associated with Diddy. They see him as filthy, disgraceful, and a threat to society. His career is currently hanging by a thread, and he might be on his way to join R. Kelly. The rap superstar was accused of kidnapping, drugging, and coercing women into sexual activities. In addition to that, Sean Combs would commit these acts using firearms and threats of violence. In March 2024, Diddy received unwanted guests in his $61 million home in Beverly Hills. However, this time, the "I'm Coming Home" hitmaker was not home, and he was not planning to come home as he says in his song. The police said that they seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil and supplies that were supposed to be used for what Diddy used to call freak-offs. On September 17, 2024, Sean Combs pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. This case has come only a year after several women started coming forward and filed lawsuits against the legendary rapper. It all started with his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, who is a well-known singer and model. She filed a lawsuit against Puff Daddy on November 16, 2023. For more than a decade, Cassie was signed to Diddy's record label, and she was also his girlfriend at that time. But in the lawsuit filed by Cassie against Diddy, she said that the legendary rapper had used his power and position to set the groundwork for a coercive romantic and sexual relationship. According to her, Diddy used to beat her regularly. This involved kicking her and leaving her with black eyes and bruises. Sometimes, she would be left bleeding. Her description of Diddy's violence against her was very graphic. Cassandra Ventura also went ahead and described the freak-offs that Diddy used to host in his lavish homes. She said that these parties always involved multiple substances, and they lasted for several days. Diddy allegedly used to force the women present to engage in performances, which he would also film for his pleasure. Cassie did not stop at that. She also accused Puff of handling her inappropriately and getting into her pants without her permission. She said that the freak-offs were witnessed by his loyal associates, who would watch the scenes in joy and do nothing to stop it. A rapper by the name of Kid Cudi once tried to make advances toward Cassie. However, Sean Combs was not going to let that happen. According to Cassie, Diddy destroyed a car belonging to the rapper. This was a statement to the rapper that he should not go anywhere near Cassandra. Sean Combs denied all the allegations made against him by Cassandra. He went ahead and countersued Cassie for extortion. This case was finally settled for an undisclosed amount, allowing Mr. Combs to maintain his innocence. However, when Diddy was one of the biggest names in the hip-hop industry, one woman filed a lawsuit anonymously, claiming that Diddy and another man coerced her into sexual activities. After Joy filed this lawsuit, another woman filed another lawsuit against the mogul. This woman was called Liza Gardner. Liza said that Diddy, together with another man, forced themselves on her and her friend more than 30 years ago. It only becomes filthier when she says that Diddy did that to her when she was just 16 years old. She also added that Puff choked her so hard that she passed out. All these lawsuits against Diddy came shortly before the expiration of the New York Adult Survivors Act. December 2023, another woman came forward to file similar charges against Puff Daddy. The woman said that in 2003, Diddy, Pierre, the former president of Bad Boy Records, and another man all ganged up on her and took away her innocence when she was 17. He alleged that she was given some amount of alcohol and other substances that knocked her out before the incident. She also added that she was left with so much pain that she could barely stand. She could not even remember how she managed to get home that day. Diddy responded to the claims and said that he had not done any of the things being said against him. Puff Daddy took to Instagram on December 6, 2023, to respond to the many lawsuits filed against him. He wrote in a post saying, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." The owner of Bad Boy Records was truly a bad boy. Music producer Rodney Jones Jr. came forward with charges against Diddy that were similar to those filed by the other women. In February 2024, Jones said that Diddy made unwanted sexual contact with him and forced him to hire commercial sex workers and engage in acts with them against his will. Rodney Jones Jr. also stated that Diddy tried to groom him into engaging in homosexual activities with another man. Diddy's lawyer, Sean Hawley, asserted that Jones was nothing more than a liar. He added that his claims were pure fiction and could be discredited by overwhelming, indisputable proof. Diddy thought he had won the case and that his name had been cleared. But what awaited him was something that he could not just rubbish off, as he had done to the other cases. He was up against something bigger than anything that had ever been filed against him before. On May 17, 2024, a video of Diddy beating Cassie was leaked. The CCTV footage showed Diddy hitting her while they were in a hotel hallway in Los Angeles. The incident in the footage dated back to 2016. CNN broadcasted this footage, which showed Diddy pushing Cassie to the ground before kicking her multiple times while she was down. He also attempted to drag her along the floor by her shirt before throwing an object at her. After the video circulated on the internet, his fellow superstars and fans expressed their anger, calling him all kinds of names. Later on, Cassie posted a statement where she highlighted how life was hell for her due to the significant amount of domestic violence she had faced at the hands of Puff Daddy. Diddy was facing sleepless nights once again. Crystal McKinney, who is both a model and an actress, sued Diddy in another case. Crystal said that Diddy once had her on substances and forced her to perform on him in the bathroom of a New York City recording studio in 2023. His sleepless nights would only become worse when April Lampros sued him 2 days after Crystal had sued him. April, who sued him in May, said that Diddy had forced himself on her on 4 different occasions between 1995 and 2000. According to April, she met the mogul in 1994. At that time, she was a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology. They initially had a romantic relationship, which quickly turned into an aggressive, coercive, and abusive relationship based on sexual acts. She even claimed that the rapper once forced her to take some pills and engage in acts with his then-girlfriend. The lawsuits filed against Diddy were brutal and tarnished his name. It was clear that Diddy was a predator and he was a threat to society. Former adult film star Adria English filed a lawsuit against Diddy on the same kind of allegations he had been facing. Adria said that Diddy groomed her into performing sexual acts from time to time, from 2004 to 2009. This was during some of his star-studded parties that he used to call freak-offs. Jonathan Davis, who is Diddy's lawyer, has denied all the allegations and maintains that his client is innocent. 2024, when Diddy failed to attend a virtual hearing for a lawsuit that was filed against him by Derek Lee Cardello Smith. Derek is a Michigan inmate who claimed that Puff Daddy had made him take some substance without his consent. After Derek became drowsy due to the substance, Diddy allegedly took advantage of him, already in Detroit. The fact that Diddy did not show up to the court hearing led to more problems for him. A default judgment was passed against Puff. He was ordered to pay Derek $100 million. This judgment would later be set aside after Diddy's lawyer filed an appeal. After a series of lawsuits filed against the musician, Diddy was finally arrested on September 16, 2024. The hip-hop star was arrested in a Manhattan hotel room after a grand jury indictment. According to his lawyer, Diddy had cooperated with the police and voluntarily relocated to New York in anticipation of the charges made against him. His lawyer said, "These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court." In an unsealed indictment, the prosecutors also alleged that he had engaged in kidnapping, bribery, forced labor, and other crimes. According to the prosecutors, Diddy was the head of a criminal enterprise that used to take advantage of women. The prosecutors said that this criminal enterprise used threats of violence against the women and forced them to participate in substance-fueled orgies with male sex workers. The prosecutors added that the freak-offs were elaborate and produced sex performances. The parties were highly organized. The associates of Puff allegedly recruited commercial sex workers and booked hotel suites. They also distributed substances such as coke, meth, and oxycodone. These substances were supposed to coerce the people who went to his parties into sex and also keep them obedient to his instructions. Diddy's staff were allegedly the ones who arranged and facilitated the travel for the victims of the freak-offs. They also organized and supplied some intravenous fluids, which were used to help the victims recover from the parties, which lasted for days. Diddy is currently detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where he awaits his trial. But with all this, what is the relationship between Diddy and Janet Jackson? Diddy and Janet Jackson's connection. The connection between Diddy and Janet Jackson started at the 2004 Super Bowl at the Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. During the halftime show of the February 1, 2004 sporting event, Diddy, Nelly, Kid Rock, Justin Timberlake, and Janet Jackson all featured in the show. The halftime show was met with immense controversy when one of Janet Jackson's breasts was accidentally exposed by Timberlake. The incident was so controversial that people only remember the Janet Jackson incident and barely remember anything about Diddy's performance. Diddy later claimed that despite performing on the same stage as Janet Jackson, he was not that close to the female musician. During an interview with Andy Cohen in 2015, Diddy said that he admires the musician, but he has never gotten her number, so they never kept in touch. Years later, after the 2004 Super Bowl, Diddy opened up about his feelings on what transpired that night. Puff said that he was still angry about what happened to Janet Jackson. He was angry because what happened left his performance in the Super Bowl halftime show unnoticed. Despite all that, Diddy said that it was time for him to let bygones be bygones and move on. At the time that Diddy was talking about the incident, he still did not have Janet Jackson's number. But later on, several incidents showed that Diddy and Janet Jackson had become close. It is through their getting close that Janet Jackson had the chance to have a close interaction with Diddy, and she would eventually blast him after he was reportedly engaged in numerous sexual offenses.